in the mush pot up here, like like right in the middle of. Yeah, right? I know. Tomatoes, rotten food. It's weird seating arrangement. I don't know, I'll do that later. Sorry, I know. Lights. Not used to being in front of the adults. Kids, yes.
You need a writer.
A writer? Sweet. Yes. Yes. Yeah. Thanks. And this seems to, do you hear that? Yeah. Okay. All right. It's tinny. In just a minute, because I miss hanging out with these folks. So, Dan and I are the family life pastors here. My name's Kristi, that's Dan, I just said that. So normally I am hanging with the super amazing under 18-year-olds. And I have a break from that for a little bit, both Jocelyn and I do. So anyway, so I want to hear from you guys. How was your week?
Good.
Good?
Good.
What made it good? Nothing was bad. Nothing was bad, therefore it made it good.
Tell her what you guys did this week. What else do
I don't know.
Oh, it's not.
Technical difficulties, guys.
Hang on, pause. Hold that thought.
So we want to make
Testing.
Okay, there we go.
We bowled and played video games.
Sweet.
3 strides and 5 spins.
Wait, say that into the microphone.
single day this week. Like most important. What camp did you go to?
AZ and the Rocks.
AZ.
Rock climbing.
Rock climbing camp? Oh my gosh.
Pretty cool. It doesn't beat the board. Yeah, it really made
Right? Yeah. It doesn't compare to video games. Like, I get it. My almost 17-year-old, like, that's video games is the thing. So, how was rock climbing camp?
Pretty good. Great.
Aiden was the
Tell them
better.
about your bowling game, if that's what you Tell them about what's your
All right, so what does this week hold for you? Anything exciting? Yeah, are you doing anything exciting this week?
After this, we're gonna travel up to Flagstaff.
Sweet. Are you there for the whole week?
Just like 2 days. Yeah.
Sweet. And any big 4th of July plans? Stay away from fireworks.
We're going to find fireworks.
Oh, excellent. By someone else shooting them off, yeah.
Well, not up north. That's why we're staying in Phoenix, because we haven't seen fireworks in like 3 years.
Oh my gosh, really?
Always has a fire pit.
They never get to have
Oh,
fireworks. So
okay.
We wanted to stay in Phoenix and actually
Gotcha.
see fireworks this year.
Gotcha. Camp Verde always has it because it's on the res, so they can do whatever they want. So yeah, they always have
That's nice.
the fireworks. So if you're ever staying in Flag and you want to come halfway down, but so yeah, Camp at the casino. So
Okay.
anyways, yeah, awesome. Anything else you guys want to share with us? It's a small kids group tonight, just like small adults. I know. Sometimes those are the best. Anything else you want to share with us? Any advice you have for the adults? No? You ready to go hang out with Miss Cassandra? No, you guys want to stay and hang in here? No. All right. Go have fun with Miss Cassandra. See you guys. We'll see you soon.
All set.
How do you girls feel about, like, if we brought the table up here? Or you can go to that one, we can bring it in.
Sit right here at this table.
Yeah. You don't have to if you don't want to.
That'd be super fun.
You're gonna stay right there? You're gonna, no? You're gonna, okay. I I just thought, since it's just a small group, you could, if you so chose, or you could stay there. Well, you can leave that, just turn the table. How about that? I'm making this ultra confusing. Anyways, I know, sorry. Cool. So I was curious if anyone, so at the end of last week, we kind of started to formulate our declarations based on our wants with God, right? And like coming up with our antidote, right? Am I remembering that correctly? The antidote?
Oh, that's what I said, yes.
Yeah. So I was wondering if anyone experienced anything over this past week where maybe they had to use their antidote. If they experienced any push on what they're going after with God. Yeah.
Really, you guys can't hear me? Oh, is it for the... Oh, okay. Hello, camera.
Right. Hi, camera.
It's for all the people around the world. Are they watching? Oh, that's true. That's true. So mine, it was an antidote, and then what was the other part? I can't remember if this was the antidote or the whatever. I just heard "Let joy be your guide."
Yeah.
And this week, joy was tested in a really major way. But I was looking up joy, and I think the name joy, I was looking up the meaning, and it said, like rejoicing. And there's a lot of different parts of joy, I think, but I felt like the antidote for me when I start getting discouraged is to figure out how to get into a rejoicing mode, and gratitude and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's good. That's mine, and that was what came up for me last week was, and even like the verse, rejoice in the Lord always. Again, I say rejoice. Like that to me is my antidote, is rejoicing, and so I can.
I think the first part was like, what is the mantra that you say to yourself?
Yeah.
Like, what do you need to repeat to yourself to keep going?
Yeah.
And then when you hit that resistance,
Yeah.
when you hit that resistance, what is your antidote?
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Dan, I know you kind of felt pressure against what you're going after with God this week. Did you want to share, or no? You don't have to.
It was rough. So I'm going after success. Like that's one of the big things I'm pursuing. Success with my business and success in life, and kind of overcoming some old family ties.
Mindsets, not
Mindsets that, just a mindset of that good enough is just kind of okay, and if it's just really hard, then maybe find something else to do. And I rebuke all that. So I'm trying to find success in lots of things. And last Monday, and I'm like fired up, ready to go, after Sunday, because things were awesome. And then Monday morning, like first thing, I hear from my director, essentially a manager kind of person, that's like, if you don't start showing more results, then you're out. Pretty much ultimatum, like you have to do this, or in 4 weeks from now, you're out, you're done. Like awesome, that's just makes me super happy. So anyway, I was able to, God was able to make things happen this week, and so it's been really, really positive, and I've got a whole bunch more positive this coming week, and it's going to be a short week, and I'm still doing everything I need to do, so it's good. It's just I'm doing things the hard way, apparently. But there was a lot of negativity that really frustrated me Monday, Tuesday, and through all that, I still saw how God was building me. Like you got to kind of hit rock bottom before you start coming back up and seeing the potential for what God has, instead of kind of getting over yourself and my own ego. And that's where God led me to last week, or a week and a half ago on a Wednesday. my ego and my whole mindset kind of changed. And then when it kind of came through the weekend, everything was amazing at church, and exactly what was needed to say said to me, gave me lots of hope. And then I go into Monday and everything's just like, and broken down again. But it really wasn't broken down. It was just like, it's the part in the movie, you know, where you're like, oh, he's going to die. He can't die, you know. And then suddenly it's like, gets new rejuvenized energy, and then the end of the movie comes and everything's happy and great. Like I'm on the build up towards that right now.
But you didn't go down as far as you did that one day, where you said you were having a really down day.
Yeah, that was a bad day.
You didn't go back to.
I went lower for another week. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was rough.
And then coming back.
And then something snapped at one point on one day, and my whole mind and my whole mindset changed, and yeah, and it's been positive and
I think that was kind of the question, is like you had your low point, right? And then your mindset changed, and
Yeah.
then you got pressed, you know, like that got challenged.
got challenged on Monday.
And you didn't go as low as you did prior to
Oh.
the mindset change.
Right.
Last
Last Monday.
So after the lowest point.
Yeah.
Correct. Like I felt like I was on my way back up, and then suddenly you get slapped with something else, you know? Like when Frodo finally gets there and he's going to throw the ring into the pit, and then he decides not to, and then he bites his finger up, you know, like, it's right there. Just do that and get it done.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then there's another 2 hours to the movie.
Yeah. Thanks, Ben.
So I have been I'm trying to seek contentment in my profession, and one of my antidote statements, we'll see which one sticks the most, but this one's, what's the next best step? And that just means, what's the next thing for me to do today that makes me smile professionally? And it was earlier this week, I called up a guy and said, hey, I want to come tell you my idea. And he's a guy I barely know, but if he's interested in this idea, it would be really exciting. It's an idea for business, like a software business. And anyway, I showed up, and at his office, he goes, hey, we've got beer here. And I was like, really? He's like, yeah, let's have a beer too. Let's get on the whiteboard. And we sat there and we drank our beers, and we filled up the entire whiteboard, and we just were like really having fun with it. And I was like, this is what I love. Heaven for me. Heaven has many whiteboards, like the ceiling to floor whiteboard. That's my heaven.
I love it.
Anyway. There you go. I want to go to his office and draw on his wall.
So instead of maybe experiencing something that challenged what you're going after, you kind of experienced space to walk into.
Yeah, well, I mean, my every day is kind of a challenge, so this was like getting out above that and saying, what's something that has nothing to do with what I'm doing for my work that would make me happy and smile.
Awesome. Very cool. Awesome. I love like just how God is so in every detail, you know, of all of these different things that we're going after. And so kind of the last few weeks, Angela has been talking a lot about there's something that's on our heart, you know, that we want to go after with God. Like it's a desire and a want in our heart. And so we've been kind of walking that out and experiencing that in new ways, and then everyone getting to experience that over this last week, maybe with some pressure and figuring out how to step out of that, you know, kind of going back to your antidote that God has placed on your heart. And so the thing that I felt he wanted us to kind of dive into tonight, and I'm much more conversational than like, because I don't have all the answers, you know, I don't, and Angela wouldn't say that she has all the answers either, but she has a lot more answers than I do. But I love living life with people, and so to me that's what this is it's a conversation. It's what do we feel that God is, you know, talking to each one of us regarding these things. So this week, what kept coming up for me, and it probably started 2 weeks ago, was expectations. And I think God wants to reframe our expectations. And in fact, it was Angela was on up here and we were discussing what we want, God's character in that want, and then the challenges that come against that, or the things that make it difficult to see God's character to move forward in that want. So when I was listening and she had the list, and I can't quite remember what was up on that list. If anyone remembers, you can help me out. But because for me, what was glaring in my mind was my own expectations are a challenge to me in moving forward in what God and I want together. Because I come up with a visual in my own head, and then I therefore expect it to look this way. And God in His infinite wisdom doesn't always have it look the way that you anticipate it's going to look. And so there was a point in my life a few years ago where I had a night where Dan and I had kind of we didn't even have an argument, I think, but he fell short of my expectations. I know that never happens in, your marriage or any other marriage, but in ours, I sometimes have expectations for him and he falls short. He has expectations for me. I always meet them, but and exceed them. I'm just kidding. I'm teasing. And I fall short often. So something triggered inside of me where I just lost it. I totally lost it, because to me it turned to God always lets me down. I have these expectations of God and He doesn't ever meet them, and I'm just constantly disappointed in what I feel like He should be doing in our relationship together, God and I. And I left the house, went on a drive down a fun windy road and was going way too fast, and I just was so distraught and frustrated that I feel always let down by God. And it was actually the next day was our very first Sunday morning it was Sunday mornings when we started at the Bender's house in their living room, and I got my very first ever word from someone else, and it was, and it totally hit my heart regarding, I belong. I'm in the club. I don't need to be disappointed about not being included in God's elect. Because we all are included in His elect. There was no one that He left out. But anyway, so it was really beautiful how I felt this huge disappointment. I was so frustrated at God, and then He turned around and spoke to my heart regarding that disappointment. And there have been times, and even over this last week, something has come up, and where I just go, God, you're not meeting my expectations. You're disappointing me once again. And so I just really feel like He wants for all of us to reframe maybe our expectations with Him. And so I was looking in, scratch that. So I want to ask the question, and if you want to write it down, you're more than welcome to. What is something that you expect of God? Sure. Sure, whatever. I probably have lots of expectations of God.
Just something you expect of God.
Yeah, you can just write expectations, or the question. You can write the question, however you want to. We are really good at being awkward. We got it down.
We can meet expectations.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, if anyone has any thoughts about, or you don't have to, you can.
I just had a shudder of fear. So I am an Enneagram 5, and therefore I do not require anything of anyone, so that they will not require anything of me. And I was just like, oh crap, I do the same thing with God.
Wow.
And that's really scary and convicting.
Say that one more time.
I don't want to require anything of anyone, because I don't want to have them require something of me. It's like a protection thing. And I was like, what do I expect of God? And I'm like, man, I do not put a lot of expectations on him, but am I doing that because I don't want him to expect much of me? That's really scary.
Huh. Wow, that's good.
Oh man, I gotta go. I gotta go walk in the desert for a little bit.
Cool. Well, I love how God's going to reframe that with you.
I kind of feel the same way. I have the similar thought. If I have no expectations, then I can't be disappointed. So I don't set any on anyone else. I don't expect much of anyone or anything, and so then I can't be disappointed or heartbroken or sad, or, But that's not really a good way to live either. So, yeah. And for the same reasons, similar reasons, is that if I set some expectations on God, then yeah, He's going to set expectations on me, and I definitely don't want that, because that's a lot of pressure.
That's good. It's really good. That's it.
I'm a feeler by nature. So I have a very high expectation of him to meet all of my feelings and make me feel better.
Yeah.
Not you. Oh yeah, you.
I get the residual.
Oh my gosh. He sees a feeling, he turns around and hides. Yeah, like I feel profoundly let down when I'm in an emotion and I feel like he's not taking it away immediately. And I think the majority of our relationship has been built in him teaching me how to get out of my feelings and get into the thoughtful place, thank you, where I can look at things from a different perspective, or ask him what perspective. I mean, but that's taken so many years of frustration with him, a lot of anger at him. The beauty of it is he always said, I can totally handle your anger, so bring it on every time. But then at some point, I realized I wanted to mature out of that relationship and explore a different one. But I would say that's throughout my life, the feelings, like take away negative feelings. I don't want to feel as much as I feel.
Yeah.
And that's just the way I'm kind of wired.
Yeah. I love that. That's good. I don't know if you want to summarize any. Like no expectations, and then.
He has low expectations, really. Really
Awesome. Yeah. Can I? Thank you. Thank you.
Wait, no, you did your...
Yeah, rock, beat, scissor.
I know. Can I do...
Yeah, rock, beat, scissor. Oh, okay. All right. Oh, gotcha. I know.
Okay, someone turned it off. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, so I expect God to answer me in very quirky, experiential ways. I expect that I'm not going to understand how he's talking to me until I've processed it. A couple days later. I expect him to be my home, my comfort, my safety. There's a lot of things that come with that homeness. Difficult to put into words, but it's a place that abide, I guess would be the Christian-esque word. I don't know. But that he's my place.
Do each of those things look a certain way?
The home, the comfort, and the safety?
Yeah, well, all of the things that you listed, like, do they look a certain way for you or feel a certain way or?
So when I'm in crisis and I say, God, figure this, like, make it better. I expect him to, like, do it in the way that's really non-conventional, because he doesn't ever do things the way I think he's going to do them, or the way that I would like him to do it, or in the way that seems best to me. You know, it's like, God, I feel, or like, I am in this situation and it's really tough for me. What are you going to do about that? And he brings flowers.
I love that.
Or like random things. But it's like, he doesn't really answer it in the way that I think it is. So I expect that he's going to be, I don't know the right word, abnormal, not, maybe? An atypical, yeah. Like, I expect that he's going to be fluid and different every time.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah, but I still expect him to answer me. So when I don't, like, understand the answer, I get really mad. But then I understand it a couple days later. That's what I expect now. Okay, here with Debbie.
So mine's a little different than Jocelyn's, similar but opposite. What do I expect of God? I expect God has a plan for me. And I've gotten to the point in my life where instead of asking why me, it's more why not. And I think things become easier to accept and flow with when you say, well, why wouldn't that happen?
Yeah.
And so there are times when you're saying you're looking for God and you expect an answer. Mine is like, I'll send up prayers and his office door says, gone fishing, you know, and those prayers are gone. Or, you know, there are times when I just wish page 36 from the cliff notes of my life would drift down from heaven and be like, am I on track? Okay, you got a plan and I'm on it. Okay, we're good.
Yes.
And just have
So
that
relate.
faith that it's moving in the right direction.
Yeah.
So I don't necessarily look for the quirks. I'm like, he's out of the office. He's
Yeah.
at the dentist again. I don't know where he is. He's just never there. And I know in my heart, I know
Right.
he is, but it just seems like that sign on the door has flipped and it's just, he's out having fun. And I'm like, so why not is
Yeah.
my mantra. But what do I expect? I expect that there's a plan with me.
Yeah.
So
That's good.
That's it.
That's good. I can so speak that language. I'm like, really?
And it really is a flip to go from why to like,
Yeah.
okay, why not?
Yeah.
But if somebody's got to do it, I'll take it on.
Yeah.
It's all right.
Yeah.
I've got a great big team I'm taking them for.
I love that. I love that. It's really good.
Sammy, we ended up with you. A kid. How crazy. I'll just share mine. Why not? I was just going to hold it, but...
I expect God to make me feel loved. In all the crazy moments of not feeling loved and feeling disappointed and let down once again by people, that it's those moments that he gets to step in and make me feel loved.
And I'll kind of ask the same question. Does that look a certain way for you? Like, are there certain particular things that make you feel loved by him?
I think there are certain things of people that make me feel loved, but I'm not sure if they're the same. I don't know how that would look from God.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. Well, I don't know that yet.
I love it. It's a big space to explore. Super fun. Awesome. Get the mic or? I think for me, I am a planner. I am a proverbial planner. We used to do the Ragnar relay race, and you're on a team of 12, and so you're going, over 200 miles, and so everybody has a different pace, and you have a different miles. And I was the one that, on my own volition, made an Excel spreadsheet of everyone's pace, and I would calculate, okay, they are running, 6 miles, this is their pace, okay, so they're gonna, at this time, we need to be at the leg. So for 12 people, each running 3 different legs, I created this spreadsheet, and I loved it. Like, that was my happy place. And so I'm the planner, and so I think for me, when I feel left out of God's plan, for me, that is very frustrating for me. So I think I have an expectation to understand the plan. God should show me the Excel spreadsheet and say, at this point, you should be here, and you're gonna, this is the course, this is the way that you're running, and I think that's my expectation, which I think probably really needs to be reframed, because I don't know that that's a great expectation to have of God. And I hear, I feel that, it's not a bad expectation. It just maybe could be reframed. So the other part that, interestingly enough, came up for me, and I don't have the answers, but was I felt this that there's a difference between hope and expectation, and so I've been trying to explore that. So what, for you, differently than what do you expect of God, what do you hope for with God? Or is it different? Does that feel different for anyone? Just me? And I don't know that it did until this week. For me, expectation and hope felt different.
So when you asked the question, I was just kind of thinking about it, and one thing that came to mind was, why? Oh, you record?
Yeah.
I'm gonna talk quieter now.
Yeah.
But I was just, what came to mind was that whenever because I'm a lot like the guys where I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna get rid of expectations and not have them. But God's always been good, so I trust Him in that. But, with people, I do the whole no expectations, blah, blah, blah. But one thing that I realized was that every time that I see something in God and I dare to start hoping that it might be true, He blows my expectations out of the water. And I love that about Him, and I think it's phenomenal. But I don't have an answer at all to your question. I just thought it was interesting that my thought had hope and expectation in it at the same time.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Yeah. I think there's an extremely strong connection with the hope and expectation, and I think God wants to bring that relationship together between the two. Taylor and I kind of had a conversation yesterday about what we hope for. Like, you can hope for things that are totally unrealistic, but what you expect is somewhat based in reality, and what you expect to happen, what can happen. And I don't know that that's necessarily how God sees the two. I think that there's a beautiful partnership that is yet to be identified, for me anyways, but I think that there's a partnership between the two of hope and expectation. So anyways, anyone else with the idea of hope?
I was just gonna say, do you know that scene in the shack where the camera pulls back on that garden that looks really messy, and then there's it's really a beautiful pattern. That's my hope. When I'm in the weeds and I don't get why something's happening, the place I go to in my mind is that scene. And I tell myself, my hope is that this will all make sense. That it's all making sense to God, even though I'm kind of in the weeds right now.
Yeah.
I just don't have the right perspective that He has.
Yeah, that's good.
I just look at it like expectations are what we want with our brains, and hopes are what we want with our heart. And the merging of those two.
Yeah.
You know, cognitively but emotionally.
Yeah.
What do we want?
That's good. I love that. Anyone else? Clink. So, I was looking up hope in the Bible, and oh my word, there's a lot of references to hope. And one of the things that struck me as I was reading some commentary and doing a little bit of word study that I could do was that the Hebrew word for hope, there is an implied tension in the word hope. It's like when they're saying like a cord is being pulled really tight, and it's, you know, it's going to break. It's going, but there's that place of tension, and that implication of tension is used in the word hope in the Hebrew text, which I thought, wow, that is really, when I apply that thought of tension in the places of my life where I hope with God, I go, oh my gosh, it does. I feel this place of tension of like something is going to happen, and it almost is stretching